3.5 years ago, I was invited to a pop-up and I saw this beautiful invitation and it had these beautiful clothes, but I'm really not somebody who shops online or goes to a lot of these events, but this was a friend of mine that I thought I'll go and I'll just support her. And so I went, and the minute I got there and felt the fabrics and saw how soft and everything was, I thought, oh my gosh, I need to run home and go get my girls. They're going to love this. And I ran home, I got my girls, I said, you guys need to come. This is really nice, beautiful, comfortable clothes. And so I brought them with me. And what I realized is that for teenagers, it's so hard to find things for them that covers everything, that's still fashionable, it's comfortable, and that teenage girls feel comfortable in these clothes. And so that's kind of what spoke to me at first when I went and got my girls to come back and pick something. So we got a few items, and I noticed that my girls and I wore them. We wore them a lot. Everything else in our closet just kind of went to the back. But that was just a nice event, and I really didn't think much more of it other than I really liked those pieces of clothing. And a few months later, there was somebody else that did a pop-up, and so I went and I got a few pieces. Again, I was just supporting my friend doing that, but of course I liked the pieces, so that worked out. And as I was leaving, I had this overwhelming feeling that I needed to do this with my girls. And I wasn't really thinking, I need to do this for money, I need to do this because I need a job. I just wanted that bonding experience with my girls because I knew they loved the clothes, I loved the clothes, and it was something that I could do with teenage girls. And so I couldn't get it out of my mind. This was not something typical for me. I was not somebody that usually supported all of these online businesses, home-based businesses, and I might support a friend here and there, but it wasn't something that I'd ever thought of doing. I wasn't a salesperson at all. I had a business degree. I even got a master's degree. I loved learning, and I actually loved working. But when I had my children, I stayed home and I was passionate about being a mom. And so when I realized that this was something I could do with my girls, I didn't really think about it as a job. I just thought about it as something I could do with my girls, and I couldn't get it out of my mind. And so I started to do some research on it. And the more research I did, the more excited I was about it. So I went to the person that has always been my cheerleader, my mom. And I said, okay, this is what I'm thinking. And I told her everything that I was thinking. And I wanted to just throw it out there for her to tell me, no, I don't think you should do that. And I thought, well, maybe she might even say, no, I don't think you should do that. But after hearing how excited I was about it and the reason I wanted to do it, I wanted to do it to do something that I was really going to deeply bond with my girls. My mom said, I think you need to do that. And so I pursued that. I found out more information, and that's where I started my journey in starting a business for our family. Well, growing up as a little girl, we lived all over the world because of my dad's job. And so when LuLaRoe came and I saw all of the beautiful prints, they actually reminded me of growing up. All the way from when I was a little girl and I lived in Panama with the Kuna Indians with their mola shirts on, so colorful and beautiful, to times where we went to Kenya and we saw the animals in the reserve, and the animal prints with LuLaRoe remind me of the elephants charging at us and the beautiful, majestic giraffes that would roam the reserve. It reminded me, and it was beautiful. We lived in the Middle East for many, many years, and even though the colors were not as vibrant, so many of the fabrics and textures remind me of the simplicity of when we lived there. The sand-colored pieces and the fabrics and textures that remind me of when we lived there. a little bit of gold that is sewn into some of the pieces remind me of the gold that they would wear there. The floating markets in Thailand and how beautiful and colorful those were. The wheat peels that the Guatemalan women wear that are so beautiful and colorful. All of these colors remind me of my childhood. All of those beautiful textures, prints, and patterns remind me of the colorful world that I grew up in. What I've started to realize with having my boutique is that it's actually not really about the clothes. It's about the community. I have ladies that come onto my lives from all over the country and actually all over the world that have gotten to know each other and will check on each other, will chat with each other, have friended each other because through fashion and through clothing, we have become friends. And locally, it has been something that has brought us together as well. I am a class manager for Jazzercise. I've been doing that for many years now. And many of these ladies have been together for 30, 35 years. In fact, one of the ladies that I jazzercise with is 86 years old. So for Valentine's, our sweet owner and jazzercise instructor told us to remember to come for Valentine's in all red and pink. And so I had this idea. I thought, what if I bring Valentine's leggings for everybody? So after class one day, after she had taught and left, I had all of the ladies come up and pick a pair of Valentine's leggings. And I told them that we were going to surprise our instructor and we were all going to come decked out in our Valentine's leggings. They were so excited to do that. So they all picked the pair that they wanted to wear and they all took a pair home. And then the few days later, when we were going to come all dressed up in our Valentine's, our instructor and the owner of Jazzercise was so she was so excited to see us all having so much fun in our Valentine's leggings. It was a bonding experience for all of us. We all had a big smile on our face. We took a picture with us all, and it was just a really nice, fun event that I got to help with. Our family's benefited from LuLaRoe in a lot of ways, but one way that I remember that really brought us together was when my two oldest kids had just gotten back from a church mission where they had been gone for a couple of years. One had been in the Philippines and one had been in Peru, and that was a long time for our family of 7 not to be together. And so for 2 years we thought, what can we do when they come back together, just to, have a little vacation or do something fun together. And so we thought about that, but didn't end up coming up with anything. And by the time they came home, there had been medical bills and college expenses and mission expenses. And all of a sudden we thought, oh, we didn't even really save up to go on a vacation or something together. And so one of my friends had come to visit, and she lives in New York City, and she has a renovated brownstone that they have worked on for years. Well, they were going to be out of the country, and she just happened to say to me, Brenda, you need to come visit with your family and stay at our brownstone. In fact, we're going to be out of the country for a couple of weeks. Why don't you guys come and stay there? And so I thought, well, that sounds perfect. We can do this together as a family. But realizing that we needed to take 7 people there was a large expense. So I brought it up with the family, with my husband and with the children, and they were so excited to do this. But we told the kids, you're going to have to help make this vacation a possibility. And so they said, yes, we'll do anything that we need to do. And so we came up with a plan. It was about back to school time where people were shopping for their back to school clothes. And so all of my kids came on to a couple of lives, and we told our group what we were doing. We were planning a trip to New York, and my kids were going to pay for a portion of their expenses. So they all came up with something that they were going to do to help with these lives. Some of them were actually on the live, some were packaging in the background. Everybody was doing something to earn money to go on this family trip. So we went live, we sold some clothes for back to school events, and we were able to save up enough money so that we could go stay in New York for a week. And when we got there, we took the subway, we went to the markets, we just kind of lived like we lived in New York and went to all of the sites, and our family really bonded and had such a fun memory there together. And we wouldn't have been able to have that vacation as a family together if it weren't for LuLaRoe. Running a home-based business with LuLaRoe has helped keep my life flexible enough so that I can be mom first. I can take phone calls from my college kids. I can help my children with their homework at any time, and I can go to school activities and do things for my children so that my children know that they come first, and I also run a business that they can help me with. Living all over the world, my parents really instilled in us a service-oriented attitude. They taught us to give back. And so when LuLaRoe came up with their fundraising program, I was really excited because this is what I wanted to base my business on. LuLaRoe's fundraising program really excited me because I could run my business and I could donate a portion of the fundraiser that I was helping, and then LuLaRoe would actually match dollar to dollar for that portion that was donated. About a year ago, my neighbor texted me and said, "I'm so excited, I was chosen to go on a mission trip to Kenya." And my children at the time were on a mission, so she was connecting with me about what a mission trip would be like. And she was so excited about it, telling me that she was a little bit nervous. She needed to be able to come up with the funds to be able to pay for this mission trip, but how honored she was to be chosen to be able to go on this mission trip. And so when she was a little bit nervous about coming up with all of the funds, I said, "Well, I'll do a fundraiser for you." And she said, "Really? What do we have to do?" And so we set up the fundraiser through LuLaRoe, and then we invited friends and family and neighbors over, and they shopped for wonderful, beautiful, comfortable clothes that they loved. And also I was able to donate a portion to her mission trip, and LuLaRoe then matched it. We were able to donate quite a bit to her mission trip, and then she went away to Kenya during the summer for a few weeks and had an amazing experience in an orphanage. The children loved her. She has beautiful pictures of the children playing with her and how they helped with this orphanage and how they taught them skills. She had such a great experience that when she came back, she planned to go again, but then got chosen to be one of the leads for the next mission trip. So now we're planning another fundraiser so that her son can go with her this summer, and they will go back to Kenya to do more service there in that beautiful country. Many of you will probably remember about hearing about the Paradise, California fire. It was a devastating fire that literally almost wiped out an entire city. That really resonated with me for a couple of reasons. The first was that I had a customer who had become a friend that I knew lived there. And so as soon as I heard about it, I texted her to make sure that she was doing okay. Also, when my husband and I first got married, that was the first place that we lived. We lived in Paradise, California, up in the mountains in a little house that was so quaint and cute. We just lived there for a few months, but it really was the first place that we started our married life. And so I will always remember Paradise, California with fond memories. And so thinking that that entire beautiful area had been devastated really touched my heart. So I reached out to this customer that I had for information on how people were doing. And of course, she told me how people were doing, and it really was very, very devastating. I asked her if she could come up with a plan for us to be able to help them. So she told me about her mother and her sister and her best friend, how their families had completely lost their homes. What we did was we had a fundraiser for these people through LuLaRoe, and we were able to donate some funds for them. But in addition to that, it was about Thanksgiving time. And so I told my family about this, my extended family. We all had gotten together in San Diego, and we like to do service projects together. So we decided we were going to do a service project for them. We went out, we got stockings, we found out the ages of all of the children, and we filled stockings for specific children with specific needs that they needed or things that they liked. Coloring books, just different things that we could put in these stockings for each one of these children, and we mailed that up there for them along with a check from LuLaRoe. So the really exciting part is that I've been able to use fundraisers to actually raise my kids as well. And so when I noticed that the choir needed some fundraising, along with another LuLaRoe consultant, we had a fundraiser for the choir. It was on a night that they had a choir program, and we were able to have all of the parents and the community members, the teachers, everybody in the school participate in helping this choir come up with the funds that they needed so everybody could go on the spring tour. My daughter was part of that, and so I was able to spend time I was already going to spend with her, but I was also doing a fundraiser and also running my business. I love LuLaRoe because it represents everything good in the world. They have beautiful, comfortable clothes, but again, in the end, it's not even really about the clothes. It's about serving others, developing relationships, giving you time back with your family, and investing in the community that you live in and around the world. I have loved having my own business with LuLaRoe.